Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and today we're driving one of my favorite cars, the Lotus Evora S. And then this is the IPS, which stands for Intelligent Precision Shift. And so we have, just like an automatic, we have the park, we have reverse neutral drive. And what's this red button?
And then that's the sport button.
Okay, sport button, okay, great. And then it looks like air conditioning controls here, defrosters.
Yeah.
All right, so you have all the modern conveniences here. Does the air conditioning work?
It does.
All right. I had a 2007 Exige S, and I bought the car in October. So I told everybody I bought it because it's the only one I could find with working air conditioning. When summer came around, it didn't really work. It didn't really have working air conditioning, so I learned that the hard way. Alright guys, we're in the Lotus Evora S. It's a very hot day here in New Jersey, so we got the air conditioning going. This is a 2013 Evora S, so the S stands for supercharged. And it has 345 horsepower, about 70 horsepower more than a normally aspirated Evora. I am terrible with automatic transmissions. Alright, so you just put it in D, okay. We can make videos of just how bad I am with automatic transmissions. Now this car is very low to the ground, right? Like a regular Lotus, so we'll have to be careful here. Now to give you real quick my Lotus history, I owned a 2007 Lotus Exige S. Again, the S was supercharged in laser blue. That was a fantastic car. Driving experience, good to go right? Yep. Driving experience was fantastic. There were a lot of little things that didn't work, like air conditioning. Oh wow, this car's got a lot of power. So I always wanted a Lotus. I put a premium on handling over anything. So to me, the most important thing is handling, even over acceleration or look. So Lotus is really the perfect car. Lotus is known for its suspension and for its handling. I really wanted a Lotus Esprit. I looked at a couple of those. The blue one that's on my channel from last year is a car that I actually almost bought. Did the car just downshift?
It did, yeah.
Okay, all right. Now we're driving in sport mode, so this is probably a more aggressive mode for the car. I heard comfort mode is kind of lacking a little bit, right?
Yeah, and that's why I did that little blip on the downshift.
Okay, yeah, okay. So that's what got me there. So I tried to buy a Lotus Esprit, it just didn't work out. I also looked at a 95 Esprit, which is a Lotus S4S, which is the last year of the 4-cylinder, and it had 300 horsepower. I found one on consignment at a Lotus dealer. We couldn't agree on price. Oh, I know where I am now. Yep. DMV. Yeah, I'm the best customer. I have my own line at that DMV for registering cars. I should with all the sales tax that I pay. So I tried to buy a Lotus Evora a couple times. I tried for a 2010. The 2010 it reminded me of a. I lowered the air conditioning a little bit here. The 2010 Evora reminded me of the first NSX. So they were similar horsepower. I think the 2010 Evora normally aspirates like 276 horsepower, right? Yep. You know, V6 engine. This guy's probably get a lot of looks with this car.
Yeah.
The first NSX, green light. The first NSX was 270 horsepower, and you know, that car was more about handling than speed. I think the 2010 Evora wasn't quite there yet. It was Lotus's first attempt, and a very good attempt, but there were things like, you know, the leather coming off the dash. Visibility is not bad. You have some big C-pillars. You know, you only can see a little bit out the rear window, but when you compare it to the Exige, you can see everything. You know, if you were comparing this, 911 has great visibility because you have those rear side windows, so it doesn't have the visibility of that. Again, when I test drove a 2011 S, I had a Cayman S at the same time, and this handled better. This was even better than the Porsche for handling. So this Evora S really has the power, it really has the handling, and you know, Bill comes to our Cars and Coffee. If you're going to be the only Lotus at Cars and Coffee, where we have a million GT4s and 911s, you really want to stand out. Evora S is a great way to do it. In the Lotus community, I don't know if they still do, but I remember they do a lot of drives and everything through Western New Jersey, Pennsylvania. They have a lot of get-togethers.
Yeah, they have a pretty strong community.
Yeah.
Lotus guys, yeah.
All right, unfortunately with this road, we're always behind slow traffic. Yeah. So now I'm using the paddles, we're in sport mode. All right, so now we downshifted to second. Wow, we'll slow down. But yeah, that was pretty fast. The IPS, how many gears are there? 6 or 7? Six, okay.
And it's a regular torque converter. It's
automatic,
not, yeah,
right? It's not a single clutch or dual clutch transmission. Yeah, when you shift, it feels like it's a torque converter automatic.
But they did a nice job programming this automatic. It's pretty lively for an automatic.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a Toyota sourced automatic transmission,
yeah.
right? Okay. So they really changed it. You would never know, if I didn't tell you or you didn't see another video, you would never know that this is from a Camry, the engine and transmission. So now we'll go down to second. Oh, wow. So it blips the throttle really good. Wow. And then there's a ton of power. Holy. And again, mid-engine car, you can really go through the turns. And it has these P0 Pirelli tires, 19s in the front, 20s in the rear. And you said these tires only last about 6,000 miles?
Yeah, I mean 8,000 if you're really careful.
Wow.
It's probably the only maintenance item on it that's kind of expensive.
Now, so are you due for tires now?
I'm getting close.
Okay, so I'm going to keep that in mind driving through these turns.
They're still good.
Yeah, so the P0 tires, I think...
These are Corsa.
Yeah, the Corsa are the top-of-the-line tire. Like you were saying, they cost about $400 each. 19s in the front, 20 in the back, as I said. Now, that's an option with this car, right? Isn't there like a sport pack that gives you that or something to that effect, sport suspension?
It actually came with the supercharged. The S comes with it.
Okay, it comes with those. Okay. And what were the option packages? You said this car had a sticker of 98,000 new?
Yes, this one has a tech pack, which was the GPS, and the rear-facing camera was an option.
Right.
It's got the sport pack, which is the sport button, which does a little bit of play with the shifting and with the throttle response.
Okay. Oh, so that's optional on the IPS. You don't necessarily get that for sure. Oh, wow.
And then the black pack and the paint was a premium paint.
Okay. Yeah, so the black pack blacks out the mirrors and the hood, which I think makes a big difference, especially on a lighter color. Frost blue.
Frost blue is the color exterior.
Yep, and the Frost blue, there were only 4. I saw your...
Yeah, there was only 13 in total.
So now this car has manual seats, which I like. You know, if you're the only one driving the car, you're going to only sit it once anyway. So I'd rather have a manual than all the weight from a power seat that you're never going to adjust more than once anyway. Totally different if two people are driving the car or it's a daily driver. Now it's funny, we just had our NSX drive, and that video you're probably going to see first before this one. And is it in manual mode? I'll shift right now. Okay. Yeah. So what you have to do here, if you want to use the paddles, as soon as you hit the paddle, it actually puts you in manual mode. So there's not necessarily a manual mode button, right, like a regular automatic would have. You actually, you click the paddle the first time, then it knows, and it'll keep you in manual mode, and in this sport mode, it'll blip the throttle. So, I mean, this is a pretty convincing transmission. It really acts like it's a single clutch or a dual clutch. It would fool you if you didn't know anything about cars as far as, you know, being a torque converter automatic. And it's funny, like I was saying, on our NSX drive, I have a friend who, he has more cars than me. He probably has, I think I have 8 right now. He's got like 10, and he's always looking for something else. So he said, one of the cars on his list is an Evora S, and you know, that's like one of my favorite cars. I'm like, if you get an Evora S, then I'm gonna have to get one, because I'm not gonna be able to keep looking at yours. And then we had another friend there who has an NSX, and he was selling it. He bought a 997 turbo convertible, and he didn't really like it that much, maybe because the convertible adds weight, whatever, so he's selling it. And then he was thinking of Evora S, so I'm like, well, if you guys get Evora S's, I'm going to have to get one. And then you can come with us too. Well, you know, we won't have 30 cars like the NSX drives, but we can have Evora S drives with just the 4 of us. But now the peer pressure's on, because he loves blue cars like me, and if he got like a laser or magnetic blue Evora.
They make a Daytona blue. I've only seen one of them in that color, but it really suits the Evora nice. So.
What is the color that's out now for the Evora 400? There's a really nice blue. I've seen pictures of a real one. If you look at Lotus's website, I looked at Lotus's website. Yes. You know, because of peer pressure, because they were getting Evora S's. Yeah. So I'm like, maybe I can stretch the budget a little bit and get a Evora 400, and then I would beat them, you know. And the color palette they had for the blue looks nothing like blue. It almost looked like gray or some other color, I don't remember. But if you look at pictures, Google blue Evora 400S, you'll see it's like a magnetic blue kind of color. I wonder what they call that new one. So have you seen Daytona blue? Because I haven't seen that color.
I've seen a Daytona blue. It's amazing. It's really, really
Is it really?
With the black pack, it really
Oh, wow. It must really stand out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and Frost Blue, the exterior color of this car, is a rare color. So that was one of those lifestyle paints. Is that what they call it for Lotus?
Yeah.
And what do they charge for a lifestyle paint option?
$2,600.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you didn't pay that. The first owner did. And Lotus has a certificate of provenance, right?
Yes.
And that's similar to what Porsche does that too. I have that for my 993 Turbo. Essentially says, you know, when your car was built in the, you know, it verifies that your car is really what it is. So it says what options it has. Lotus kind of, like my Porsche one, says it's a real 993 Turbo in case people start to fake them in the future. For Lotus, it'll even tell you, you know, when your car came down the assembly line, right, what day it was sold.
Right, yeah, where it was in the sequence.
Yeah, your number 50 of 100 or whatever, and how many have the exact opposite of yours. So looking at your certificate, you were the only Frost Blue IPS Lotus Evora S made in 2013.
Yeah,
so
with the Imperial Blue interior. This was This was actually the only one ever. They didn't make any other one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a wonderful one.
It's the only one with this interior?
Yeah, with this combination of options.
Oh, okay. So Frost Blue and this interior.
Frost Blue S, IPS, the only one.
I love this blue interior. I don't think I've seen it on another Evora. Now, what were some of the other options? Were these seats optional?
These seats were optional. It's part of the sport pack. I forget exactly what they call this one, where it's got kind of that perforated leather.
Yes. And that's the upgraded seats, because the base seats I know don't look like that.
Yeah, they were just kind of like the straight leather.
Right.
There's another option this didn't have that's really nice, is the suede text.
Oh, okay.
You know, where it's all kind of the dash is done in that.
Yes, yes. First of all, the tech pack, that's in name only. If you use the Lotus navigation, you're probably going to use Waze or something else on your phone. Backup camera, of course, is important. I didn't have that on my Exige. But, I mean, you could really make a case just get this car with no options, right? And just get your transmission choice and you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, buying it used, the good news is, you know, new cars, I try to get them with little or no options to save money, because options don't add to resale value. And this is a perfect example. Who bought this car new, paid $98,000. Obviously, they traded in for less than you bought it for.
Sure.
And, you know, Bill gets all the options here for free.
If you were daily driving it, maybe the heated seats would be handy,
yeah.
maybe this stuff, but yeah.
Now, are the heated seats a standalone option or in one of the packages?
I think it's in the tech package.
Okay. So only Lotus would consider heated seats technical when people have had them for 30 years already. Little behind the times. But I've driven the Evora 400. The Evora 400 is even a level above this. I drove the press car. It was supposed to be for Lotus owners. They didn't know that I had sold my Exige, but I showed up and got to drive it, and that car was amazing. I actually, you know, had my, I didn't have my expectations that high, and I was really impressed with the Lotus 400. What hurts the Lotus 400 is they're all with options over 100 grand, and now you're competing head-to-head with the GT4, and I don't think anybody, unfortunately, is going to choose the Evora 400 over GT4.
Really love Lotus.
You have to really love Lotus. But I like cars you don't see every day, and I really do love Lotus, so I actually would probably pick the 400 over the GT4. And one of the reasons certainly would be exclusivity. There's a million, even though they limited GT4's production number, you go to a Cars and Coffee or a Drive and there's 9 of them, you know, so they gave them away somewhere. I'm just not sure where that was. But
it's very rare that I see another Evora driving around.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I've seen one. There must be somebody that lives somewhere close by that has one.
Oh, really? What color is it?
It's a darker blue than this. I think it's called laser blue.
Oh, yeah.
It's got orange.
No, it's the magnetic blue. Laser blue is like mine, which is really bright.
Okay.
Now the power is still up high on the Evora. You don't have that much grunt down low. And it's 2,000 to 3,000. The power seems to come on with the supercharger around 4. And Lotus, like Aston Martin, it must be a British car thing. They don't actually give you a red line on the tach, but I think the lights come on,
they
right?
Do, yeah,
okay.
There's 3 lights that come on in sequence.
Yep, it's almost like Formula One. But I believe, if I remember, I think my Exige had something like that too. But I think when the lights come on, you better be shifting, right? It doesn't give you like...
It'll go first light, second light.
Okay.
When it starts blinking, that's
then
when
it's okay.
That's fine.
What I think hurts Lotus is they don't have a lease. So you can go into a Porsche dealership and lease a Boxster 911 or whatever, Cayman. You can do that. Certainly BMW leases a lot of cars. You can't, Lotus doesn't have a good lease. And I met the Lotus rep and I told him that. I mean, he knew. And the Lotus Evora 400 press car that was going around that I got to drive was black. Also, it was black on black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love the car, it's great, but I don't know, as a press car, bringing a black car around did anything.
It doesn't really show off the line.
Yeah, and they actually had it at the New York Auto Show, not this year, last year, the Evora, the same one I drove, because at that time there was only one black car going through the United States.
Yeah.
And, you know, it didn't do us justice. I think it got no attention.
Yeah.
If it was this color, or an orange, or a yellow, or a red, it would have, I think, got a lot of attention. And I think that's part of, you know, the joke about Lotus, not lots of trouble, usually serious. The other joke is, somebody asks you, what kind of car is that? You go, Lotus. They go, who makes that?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that right? Don't you get that all the time? So one more question I want to ask you about the car. Would you mind sharing what you paid for the car?
I paid $62.
Okay, and it had a 98 sticker.
Yeah.
With 3,000 miles on it.
3,000 miles.
So, I'm going to turn around in here. So the person really got killed, because if they paid 98, and who knows, maybe they got the car at a discount. We don't know when they bought it. It could have been at the end of the year or something. I'll go real careful here. And so that person lost, wow, over 30 grand, almost 40 grand.
And now they seem to be holding, like for S's, late model S's.
How does he know we don't need gas?
Yeah, you can tell.
But yeah, they're definitely holding their value. I mean, when I bought, I had a chance to buy the 11, and this was back maybe in 2014, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. And it had low miles like this. I was going to even say 2,000 miles. And I think they wanted, I could be totally wrong, I think they wanted like 65 for it.
Yeah.
And I think if it was 60, I would have bought it, and they wouldn't budge on price. And but if I would have known that, I think I would have bought it, because I don't think they've really changed, right?
No, they're hanging in there around mid-50s, low 60s. You know, there's beyond this one, now you get into the 2014s.
Right.
And they're almost new. I mean, some of them, they were never sold. It's kind of amazing. And, you know, the dealers still want like 75, 80 for those.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with Lotus. So when I was trying to buy an Elise, you know, they came out really in year 2004, but model year 2005. And I remember a dealer had, and this was in 2007, had 05 still on the lot, and he wouldn't discount them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're already 2 years old. And he's like, no, you pay full price for a Lotus. So I think the dealer network is part of the problem.
Yeah.
And then I went to a big dealer, probably one of the biggest Lotus dealers, and I remember they had like 30 cars sitting there, no joke, in every color. And the salesman told me, maybe give me $500 off sticker. I'm like, well, the cars are like a year old. It's like, and you go on in the forums, everybody was getting $4,000 or $5,000 off sticker off a new one.
Yeah.
And they wanted full sticker. That's why you have a whole floor full of Lotuses, you know?
Yeah, in the U.S., they're not that popular. For people who know them, they'll get them. They'll
right.
Them, they love them. And then for I would say the general kind of car public,
right,
it's not really a known brand. You know, it's not.
Yeah, and I think not car enthusiasts, but I think the average person, you know, they're buying a Porsche or an AMG for the. You know, the presents. Yeah. So they're buying it for the badge, trying to impress their neighbors and friends. Hey, I made it. I own a Ferrari, a Porsche. But you know, a car enthusiast looks for driving experience, and you know, I'm a car enthusiast that has a Porsche and an AMG. Yeah. So there are a lot of car enthusiasts that buy those too. And what I love about Lotus is it's different. You don't see it, and it's really special being in here. I mean, there's a million Porsches for sale, and I love them, and they're great cars. But a Lotus is kind of like something special, and part of that specialness is you're the only one that has it.
It's a little bit exclusive.
Yeah, and if you were worried about the reliability, I mean, Bill is good proof that this car is very reliable. I mean, who cares that you can't get satellite radio, right? I mean, like I'll tell you, my NSX, this is my second NSX, and my first one, when I sold it, I told the guy, I think the radio's broken because it doesn't work that good. And, you know, I just wanted to disclose everything about the car, and that was really the only problem. And I said, well, when I get my new one, not that I care about radio, but I have a radio that works. The new radio was just as bad. So that's how the radios are. It wasn't that my radio was broken.
And that'll be interesting to see what happens with Lotus, that Geely.
Yeah.
Lotus.
So hopefully they have a new owner now. Years ago when they had that Danny Bahar, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, who came over from, I believe, Ferrari. Yeah. They were going to have a new Esprit and have all these things, and then
2020 vision.
Yeah, and I had always said on the Lotus board and got flamed for it that, you know, to do anything you need money, and if Lotus doesn't have money, they're not going to be able to come out with any of those cars. So I wanted just as much as everybody for those cars to come out, but
and we see what Geely did with Volvo, for instance.
Yeah,
Volvo's come a long way.
Oh yeah,
so could be a chance if they let them run it.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is the price point, because you really have to steal. I think there's not enough Lotus people here in the United States, so I think you really have to steal sales from Porsche. So I think you really got to really make these cars as drivers' cars. So even with the my Exige and the manual shift Evoras, the stick shift isn't that great on those cars. It's a very you know, long throw and notchy. It's really for a driver's car. You would think that they had a better stick shift. Now, when you get, like, when I used to take my Exige for gas, it was like I hated taking it for gas because, like, you know, maybe my hair was sticking up or something, and I just wanted to get gas, and everybody comes and talks to you, and everybody's like, "That's $1 million car," you know, right there, and it's true.
It gets a lot of attention. And sometimes it's kind of fun. You get somebody who really does know Lotus, and they want to talk about it, and stuff like that. They want to talk about Chapman and all the, you know, history. Yeah. So what Lotus Chapman did is, obviously, instead of just you know, the American way was always throw displacement at it, put a supercharger, a big V8 engine, and make up for everything with horsepower. If it's supposed to have 300, we'll make it 400. If it's supposed to have 400, we'll make it 500. What Colin Chapman did is, hey, if we make weight go down, everything gets better. Yeah. Acceleration, handling, braking, and that's what you don't realize. The heavier your car is, the harder it is to stop. The heavier your car is, the harder it is to change direction. Yeah. The heavier your car is, the harder it is to accelerate. Even with little 4-cylinder turbos that we have now, and STIs or Evos or my AMG, you know,
those cars are usually fast 0 to 60, and when you go like from 60 to 100, you really need a bigger, more powerful engine, but you don't have that problem with a lighter weight car. So what we didn't mention in this video is this car's 345 horsepower. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually 3,100 pounds, which is very low. So if you're driving your new M3, that's about 3,800 pounds. Even an M2 is like 3,500 pounds. So this is 400 pounds less than that. Now, is there a lot of road noise on the highway? There's probably not that much sound.
Not that much, yeah. You hear a little whistling sometimes from the supercharger. Okay. But it's not that much.
Because even my NSX is not that quiet on the highway. You can kind of hear the tires and.
This is the first Lotus, at least that I drove, that the radio, you could actually use the radio if you wanted to.
The navigation looks usable. I mean, I can't say it looks like from 1999.
Yeah,
but you could probably use it. Yeah. Now, is it still Alpine? I know this one's...
This one's Pioneer. Actually, every other year of the Evora was Alpine. This was the only year they did.
Oh, really? Only 13?
Yep.
Yeah, because the navigation for the 2010s was pretty bad. I think it had, well, this has one button too, but it had like one button that did everything, and it was really, really terrible. My car didn't have power steering, my Exige, this car does. So that car was such a lightweight car, it didn't matter so much. You know, being just over 2,000 pounds, I didn't really notice the power steering. Maybe if I was parking, you know, in a parking space. Oh, sorry, I didn't see him. So there are some blind spots, or there are blind spots when you have your camera blocking your window. So this put me in second.
Yeah, that's
okay. So coming off there, I kind of rolled through there, so I didn't have to. It didn't. Well, that was probably my fault. I didn't stop enough for it to downshift into first, right?
Yeah, you need to be moving really low for it to go down to first in the manual.
Wow, this car is just so good. Now, is it a smaller gas tank?
Many gallons it holds.
Yeah, I know, like my M2 I think is like 13.7.
That sounds about like,
yeah, like 17 and a half is like max for a passenger car. That motorcycle's going for it.
I would say 12, 13 sounds right.
Gallons. And I'm sure there's things you can do with the supercharger. I'm sure you can get a smaller pulley. I'm sure there are ways that you can
boost it a little bit. And they have some kits to bring it up to 400.
Okay.
Easily, and without the charge cooler, then you get into heat sink problems.
Right. I was going to say, is there a heat soak?
Yeah.
You know, like we're in a very hot, humid day today. It's 87 degrees and very humid. I mean, we're not driving this car easy, and it's handling it no problem. I drove my 2005 Acura NSX to do this review, so let's kind of compare the two. So this with 345 horsepower compared to my NSX that has 290, this is way faster. You know, the NSX is lower to the ground, I would say, the driving position than this. The NSX is more usable. This has a wide sill here that you'd have to get in and out of, so you probably have to be in a little better shape or more athletic to get in and out of this car than you do the NSX. The NSX is probably a little more luxury. I'm going to say, you know, mechanically, powertrain-wise, they'll both be reliable. The NSXs do have very expensive clutches when you do need a clutch job. You have the timing belt for those cars. The NSX, of course, is going to have the resale value. It's an iconic car that's going to go up in value. We'll see what happens with Lotus long term, though I think you can get into a late Evora S. It's 13 or a 14 right now and probably hold your value. The good news is the Evora 400, which is a step up, is a much higher price point. So until a couple years when the Evora 400s depreciate, you can probably keep your value with this car. this car is just amazing. I mean, I'm sure the tires make a big difference, the Corsa tires, but just to have a mid-engine car, and that's something Lotus definitely does right, is the handling. And I'm impressed with this IPS. I mean, it's for an automatic transmission, it's really, really good. Wow, it just went over went over those turns like it was nothing.
Yeah, that's the only reason I didn't get the stick on this, was because one, the stick, it was very slow, going from like second to third, third to fourth.
Oh, really?
The cable was really kind of, it's a little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
And if you do need a clutch, it's a very expensive job.
Right. That did scare me on the Evora as far as the clutch goes. Now, looking at your certificate of provenance there, or provenance, it said, I didn't realize how many Evora S's were made. Not many. I think there were only 400 and change supercharged Evora S's from 2011 to 2014, and about 75% of them, according to that, just assuming the math is the same every year, is 3/4 of them were the IPS. So there's only 25% of those 438 or whatever number it was are stick shifts. Now, I know they say you can get a good deal on an Evora, and like Bill said, I don't know if that was on camera or not, like the 2014s, there are a lot of new 2014s that are unsold. So I think you get a good deal on the IPS. Again, there's 3 times as many IPS in the sticks. I haven't seen that so much when the stick shifts come up for sale. They seem to be holding at least asking price.
Yeah, I think the tough ones to get would be a stick shift with the suede text.
Okay.
It's a difficult combination to get.
Now, does this have a sport exhaust?
Yeah, it came with a sport exhaust.
Okay.
When you put it in sport mode, it does open up the exhaust.
Okay.
So you get that little bit of grumble.
Yep. Yeah, we've been driving with it open the whole time, so I probably don't notice the differences.
But it's stock exhaust.
Okay. Yeah, some people put aftermarket exhausts on it, which would sound really good too.
The 400 just sounds much angrier than
yeah.
It's the same engine. It's amazing, but it's just much angrier setup.
Yeah. And you have very powerful brakes on this car.
Yeah, they're GP racing brakes.
Yeah, so this car really stops on a dime. And brakes are really important for your sports car. They're probably just as important as handling and acceleration. Yeah, I can see why people buy the IPS. I mean, if you read the reviews, they're not very good. And again, we're driving in sport mode, which makes a big difference, right?
Yeah, shift points are a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah. So it does a convincing imitation of a manual transmission, because it blips the throttle for you if you're using the paddles. Now, what are the service intervals on this car? You have, you know, you would do an oil change, right?
Yeah, oil changes are 1 year. 1 year, I think it's 6,000 miles.
Okay.
Sure, 1 year, 6,000.
Yeah, that's
normal service.
Right, that's what I do with my cars. Even if I only drove it 1,000 miles, I still change the oil every year.
The rest of the fluids are 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Coolant, transmission fluids,
brake
4 years.
Or?
Brake fluids, 2 years.
Okay.
Every 2 years.
And anything else? Are there timing belts or anything?
No, it's got timing chain.
Okay.
Really, there's not much else to it.
Wow.
That and tires, and you're pretty much okay.
Yeah. Yeah, tires are expensive and they don't last long, like we said. They last 6,000 miles and they're $400 each. But yeah, that's the price you pay if you bought a, you know, Ferrari or Lamborghini. Your running cost or McLaren would be out the window, or an Aston Martin, where, you know, Lotus with this Toyota drivetrain is going to be very reliable.
And you can go a little bit less on a tire. But now the Evora 400 comes with the Michelin Pilot.
Okay, sure. That's what I have on a lot of my cars.
So you can do those.
Yep.
Those are a little bit less expensive.
And those cars are very, the Super Sports are very good in the rain, and PS2s before that. I'm having so much fun, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say next. Who cares about gas mileage, but I do this in every video. I saw the window sticker was like 1928, 19 Civic 28 highway, which is pretty amazing for, let's call this a semi-exotic car. is that, I guess it's a driving style. I know I would get nowhere near that. But what if you average in gas mileage?
Actually, I'm not sure. I don't daily drive it.
Okay, so who cares, right? When I go to I just give my credit card when I get gas, and it doesn't matter. Somebody would ask me, what do they charge for gas there? I go, I don't know. Your car needs gas, so it takes premium gas, right?
Yeah, premium gas.
Yeah. I would always put in premium gas if it's required. We're lucky here in New Jersey, we get 93. I know a lot of parts of the country only get 91, but you know, I wouldn't put in cheaper gas to save 200 bucks a year, especially, you know, on a car like this. Yeah, so again, very reliable car with the Toyota drivetrain. You don't have to worry about it. The best part about these cars, as all Lotuses, is the handling. This car is a very neutral car. I hate understeer, and it really makes a huge difference. Most cars are set to understeer. This car is very, very neutral, and it's not crazy. I mean, obviously you'll do better with driving skill. Make a left here.
No, you're good, yeah.
And but this is not like a scary car.
After the right.
Okay, not a
you're good.
Stay in this lane.
Yeah.
It's you know, not a car like the Viper where you give it gas too quick and you'll oversteer into the bushes. I mean, this is a very, very composed car. You know, again, the fit and finish in years past wasn't that. So my advice, that guy just went. My advice would be just to buy the newest Evora model year that you can afford. If you can get one that's 6,000 miles like this, that would be great. But even if I think if you got a 20 or 30,000 mile car, all that would be good. But obviously they improve it as it goes along. So obviously a 12 is going to be a little better than 11. Model year 13 will be better than 12, and so on and so on. This is a fun car. What Lotus really needs is just a dealer network and good service for the car, but again, there's nothing really here that you can't do on your own. Lotus has been pretty good with warranty repairs, and again, everybody that's owned a Lotus, even if they had problems, it never took away from the driving experience, which is the most important part. Torque figure on this is what, 295?
Yeah, I think it's just around 300.
Okay.
295.
Yep. All right, guys, that's the end of this review of the Lotus Evora S, and wow, this car has come a long way since the 2007 Exige that I owned, and the 2011 Evora that I test drove S, and 2010 that I test drove. Lotus really got it right this time. So definitely look for a 12 to 14 Evora. Whatever transmission you choose, whether it's the 6-shift or the IPS, I think you'll be thrilled with it. Again, the fit and finish in here is great. The reliability is great. You'll be the only one at Cars and Coffee or in your neighborhood that has one. You know, everybody has a Cayman 911 or a Boxster. You really have something exclusive here, and I think in the near future, I think they're going to hold this value too. They've sold so many, so little of these supercharged cars that I think you can make a case that this is a real good buy. And with the Toyota sourced engine and transmission, you're not going to have to worry about expensive, you know, powertrain problems. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave a positive comment below, and share this video with your friends so our channel can grow. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.